This is a HeadGum podcast.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to A Funny Feeling Podcast. I'm Betsy Sidaro.
And I'm Marcy Jarrow. This is a podcast where comedians tell us their paranormal experiences, and we listen to yours as well.
Oh, yeah. And if you have one of these paranormal experiences that you want to share with us, please email it to us at funnyfeelingpod@gmail.com.
Now get cozy.
And prepare yourself to be scared silly.
This is a Funny Feeling podcast.
Okay, we're just gonna jump into this. Hi guys. I'm gonna do a fancy introduction because
Fancy introduction, Marcy.
because we have a friend of the pod. We probably talk about him at least every other episode or more.
Living in your podcast rent free.
Rent free.
Should we have like SNL? You know, they have the 5 Timers Club. We're at 3 Timers Club.
That's right.
Oh,
I think so, yeah.
right. Yeah.
So welcome to the 3 Timers Club.
yeah.
And both of you have exceeded the 5 Timers Club on my podcast. So
Yeah,
it's about time.
If we were
Perfect.
so lazy with booking guests, all right, we're too much of an intro, not an intro at
I'm the
all. so far.
easiest guest to book, by the way.
No, we just don't book guests. That's what it is.
Yeah,
Like
fair enough.
it's more than anyway. So we're too much how the sausage is made, guys. You know him from like TV and shit, from like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and True Blood, but you really know him from Bigfoot Collectors Club. Welcome to our podcast again, Michael McMillian.
Yes.
Hi, thank
3
you.
Timer Club.
Well, not 1, not 2, but 3.
And many more.
So Betsy and I love Michael.
Thank you for having me.
and we chat with you all the time.
We
But
love you so much.
this is a very
you.
important time in history because there's so many things going on in the sky right now.
There seem to be, yes.
People are in New Jersey and apparently like Temecula are freaking the fuck out because of UFOs, and we don't know shit about that stuff.
Okay.
I know
So
nothing.
Great.
so we have to have you on, and we're going to talk about UFOs, but let's talk about whatever we want right now until then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I say,
Wait.
because Marcy pitched this, she was like, we can have Michael come on and just tell us about UFOs. And I was like, we should do this all the time of just have you fill us in with what's going on.
I would love
stuff.
to be the UFO correspondent. And there are people that are like guests that we've had on the show, like Ryan Sprague from Somewhere in the Skies and Jeremy Corbell, who's from, he's like, Jeremy Corbell was like at the congressional hearings sitting in the room. He's got Weaponized with George Knapp, that podcast. Like Jeremy's like in it. Like Jeremy has like sources from the
Wow.
government itself. So I haven't spoken to Jeremy about this directly. I have not also spoken to Ryan yet, but I'm also like, there are people that we have as our UFO people, so it's a trickle down
Yes.
to, so this is a little bit of a game of telephone. I've been listening to what they've been saying on their shows. I've been reading all the articles in the past 48 hours. And I've been like on Reddit, looking at all the subreddits and trying to find video and stuff. So I think I have a pretty good handle on like what's happening, but I don't know if I have an explanation, and it doesn't seem like anybody does.
And just so we're all aware, just in case, because if anything could happen between Friday, December 13th, and Tuesday when we release this.
Oh, yeah.
So we're recording this
of course.
at 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Friday the 13th.
Ooh,
Woo.
spookiest day ever.
So, but we'll put this out
Spooky.
on Tuesday. So who knows what the hell is going to happen? Maybe we should we just get into the UFO stuff first?
I think we should.
Okay.
Okay,
I
and
do
if
have
that's
a
cool.
fun anecdote about Marcy's parents that I want to share at a certain point.
We
but-
need
Please
that too.
tell it whenever you want. You want to tell it now? Whatever.
Yeah, tell it now. Tell it now.
Okay, we're teasing the UFO talk for just a moment. We were at, Betsy, you were there. We were at Marcy's birthday dinner a few weeks ago.
So much fun.
And this ties into UFOs because I sat across from Marcy's parents and her father just wanted to talk about UFOs the whole dinner. And he was great. Marcy, your parents were so charming and so sweet. I had such a, because sometimes you get sat with a parent and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to have anything to talk about.
Right.
And
you just kept saying, I know so much about who you are now.
It's true. Well, let's just say
they're the best though when you meet parents and you're like, your friends' parents and you're like, yeah, this is all making sense now. This is all making sense.
There were stories that your mom was telling me about a grandparent or a parent who was like a sheriff in the family.
My grandfather.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I understand where Marcy gets her sense of justice now,
My mom's a Capricorn too, so.
Well, your mom was really funny because she was so your dad was talking about the UFOs and he wanted to dip into some Bigfoot stuff. And I loved all of his theories. And he was like very open to the idea that maybe Bigfoot's an interdimensional being. So, I could keep getting a little bit further and further with your dad. And your mom would occasionally pipe in and talk about like people who had died in your family or people who were close friends of the family that had died. And there was a woman, I can't remember. Also, everyone in your family has a fun nickname like Teat and Poodle.
Mom's nickname is Teat, yeah.
But there was some, your mom kept like slipping in like, and that's how I knew they were going to heaven. That's how I know they're in heaven right now. Dreams.
I don't know when this happened with her. I swear. I mean, we were Catholic growing up, but I'm like, when did we become like angels and demons?
Your mom has had a lot of dreams where she's seen friends and loved ones just having a great time on the other side. And that's how I know they're in heaven. But she told me a story about I think it was a family member, maybe an aunt. I don't remember, but she was passing and your mom was with her and she's like, we just, they came in, they loaded her up with all of that morphine and pain killing stuff. And she just lay there and she died with the biggest smile on her face. And I knew she was going to heaven. I was like, and I didn't want to say this, but I was like, or maybe she was the highest she's ever fucking been in her entire life. But your mom was so sweet. She's like, I knew that's how she's going to heaven. Yeah. So your dad's kind of open to the ancient alien stuff. He's
he watches it constantly. There's nothing on television he hasn't watched. I was trying to find something to entertain him on Netflix, and I was like, he's watched everything.
He was on vacation and had watched a George Knapp UFO miniseries that had dropped like the day before on Netflix. So like he's pretty up to speed.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
More up to speed than I am, frankly.
Oh yeah. I don't know he knows my middle name, but he certainly
You should have your dad on this episode to talk about the drones.
Totally.
Yeah. I worry though because of the ancient alienness that I'm like, don't veer into territory.
It's a fine line.
But thank you for being so nice. In fact, there were parts where like my friend was like trying to tell a story to you and you go, I'm sorry, just wait 1 second. Anyway,
I know,
you went back to my dad.
I felt bad about that, but I did want to hear what her story was, but it was also your mom kept interjecting your dad, and I was like, I can't have a third conversation happening right now.
I hope it was enjoyable because I feel bad that I did. Then for me, it was the best birthday party ever. I had the best time. So
it was so fun.
Great.
So fun. Thank you for inviting us.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for having us.
My pleasure.
We had a blast.
So that's my parents.
Yep, there's your mom and dad. Now, I do want to just give a quick update, personal paranormal history wise, because I think Betsy, you and Marcy would enjoy this. Yes. I did, since the last time we've spoken, go on my first official ghost hunt at a haunted area. And I wanted to let you know, Betsy, I now have dowsing rods. I have a spirit box.
Oh my God.
We can get up to some real mischief now if we have a location.
We have to.
I'm into this too.
I know you are, Marcy. I know
Don't
you are. You
exclude
are
me.
invited. No, you're never excluded.
We gotta do it.
But Betsy, I always think of Betsy because you have that ghost app
Yes.
on your phone that you like to whip out. But I've got like
I love it.
I've got the real things now. We went to
my God.
a listener of the show, and I'm sure she's a fan of A Funny Feeling. And she may have been on Darcy Standforth. Have you guys had Darcy on yet? She works at one of her gigs is she is a tour guide at a Victorian house down in Santa Ana called the Kellogg House. And it's a very haunted place. Cool. And this was about a year ago, so it's been some time. But we went on a ghost tour with her, and then we were invited to stay behind and do like a ghost hunt, or as I like to call them, ghost quests, because I'm not trying to kill any ghosts. I'm not hunting them.
I like a quest. I like a quest.
A ghost quest in the house. And I'll say we had some real activity happen. So the house was like, it's a really spooky Victorian house with like this. There's like a stairwell in the center that like you can look up. It's like oval shaped, and you can see the other floors like up to the attic.
Ew, good. Spooky.
And they have like rocking chairs and children's things up there.
Ew.
Because one of the ghosts is a little girl, I think, that died there.
Of course.
The matriarch of the house haunts the place, and then people see a man with a hat walking around. But we definitely, on the tour itself, we were getting experiences. We were all standing in the kitchen while Darcy was talking about the place, and I heard upstairs footsteps going back and forth, and other people could hear them. And I go, I'm sorry, Darcy, to interrupt. Is there somebody upstairs right now? Because there were other museum staff. And she was like, nope, there's nobody up there.
Oh, my God.
And shortly after that, in the kitchen, which was to my back, we heard a big bang. And there was like these old oven prongs and stuff that people would use turn of the century hanging on the back of the door.
They would use those for cooking and helping give birth.
Yes, exactly. Pulling a baby out.
Gross.
And then getting a pie out of the oven and going back and forth. A gooseberry pie.
And then all you do is just dunk it in that dirty lake, and it's fine, folks.
But so we had that activity. There was a couple that saw something moving across the top of the stairs. But we did, the first time I've ever done this, and I'd love to do this with the two of you, we did the Estes method, which is where, so you know how you want to like talk to ghosts and get answers over a spirit box. But there's this method that's been invented in the past like 10 years or so as a control. What you'll do is you get the spirit box, which is a radio that will scan channels, and then you get little words and things come through.
I've done that in Jerome.
Yes. There'll only be one person listening to the spirit box over headphones, and they're blindfolded.
And they're
Okay,
blindfolded.
yes,
They
okay.
did that in that one documentary you told us to watch, and I'm sorry.
Hellier,
I thought
yeah.
it was so boring.
And those guys, I think those guys invented,
about it.
I think it was Kurt
did
and
this?
Connor who
Yeah.
invented this method.
We didn't do that then, and we just did the voice box. But sorry.
But
So
what's cool is one person is like blindfolded, is the only person listening to the radio. Everybody else in the room asks questions, and the person can't hear them, but they will start speaking answers that they're getting over the radio. And shit was
have so
lining
much
up.
chills.
It was wild.
Whoa.
That is, and did you get blindfolded? Did you do that at all?
I did not do that.
Okay, that seems so scary.
I did not do that. But I did go through the house by myself during it because someone said there was somebody. They said man downstairs, and we thought it might be the man in the hat. So I walked through by myself with like my camera.
God.
I didn't see anything, but man, it was like this house was full of electricity. Like your hair was just standing up. Now when I came back up the stairs, I went into what was the matriarch's bedroom. I can't remember her name. And I saw out of the corner of my eye, there's like a little side room. And peeking out from the door, I saw a little like wispy tendril.
Ooh.
It was like
Ew.
go and then disappear behind the door.
Like a tentacle
That's so
or hair?
matriarchy too.
It was kind of like hair. It was kind of like if smoke formed a tentacle. You know, it was like
mama.
like that.
Ew.
So I feel like I caught a little glimpse of something.
Yes.
And of course it was timed out. Just my camera had been there, and as I was panning away, that's when I saw it. So of course I completely. It's like the trickster thing where they were like, "Gotcha."
So coy. Yeah.
But that was really fun. So maybe we can go back down there sometime with Darcy, and we could do
love
another
to do
quest
that.
there because you guys would love it. You'd love it.
That sounds so much fun. Did you ever feel like, something's gonna follow me, or were you like, nah, everything's staying here?
That place felt like they weren't coming with us, but I definitely did some like visualizing of like white lights and telling people like, okay, leave me alone.
I just
now.
wanted to say hi.
You're not invited home with me.
Okay, good. Ooh, that is
Smart.
awesome, Michael.
Yeah, I want to go. I feel like it's Christmas time, so it's a
I have
good time.
dowsing rods now too.
Let's go do a Christmas hunt.
That's when we did it. It was around this time last year, and it was all decked out for like Victorian Christmas. It was awesome.
That
So
makes me
fun.
wanna, that is so fun.
We'll figure it out. I'll talk to
yeah.
Darcy, and we'll hook it up.
I would love to do that. That sounds so much fun.
It was a blast.
Oh
It was
my
a blast.
God, how cool.
And we really had activity, and even Darcy said, she
Yes.
was like, sometimes we have tours where nothing happens. She goes, this was a really active night.
I mean, Adela is always yelling at you about how you're like, you know, a psychic and that.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, and Marcy, we know you have some psychic abilities as well.
Absolutely.
Passed down generationally through your mother's bloodline.
I mean, I've
So,
said it before. My mom was born under the call.
That's what your dad told me too.
Yes.
So wild. So there you go. Again, Marcy makes a lot more sense after meeting mom and dad.
You were saying
Yes.
it immediately, though. Like, as soon as you set eyes on them, you were like, oh, okay, this is making a lot more sense. I was like, what are you talking about?
You know what I mean? Sometimes you just get a pic. Sometimes you just need to see the parents, and you're like, okay, got it.
Yes, I get it. I know what's up.
I'm also an interesting mix of them visually, too. Like, I have, like, my dad's features that's funny, like, to see them on me. And, like, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. What?
Should we get into it?
Yeah.
Let's
so
get into some fucking UFO
And I
shit.
think
Let's go.
we should start it at the place of like if people, because I know people in my life who have no idea what I'm talking about. When I was like, oh, yeah, the UFOs. Like last night, I was talking to Jess on the podcast, and she was like, what? And she was acting like I was being like cuckoo, and I was like, no, it's national news. There's congressional hearings. So let's start from no one knows a thing about what we're about to talk about.
Okay, so no one knows a thing about what we're about to talk about, but I think if you want to zoom out, if you're like Jess and don't know anything that's going on, so generally, big snapshot, since 2017, there's been a big movement that happened ever since a New York Times article came out about the Pentagon and video footage that came out through the military of a white tic-tac shaped UFO flying around the USS Nimitz in 2004. And it was this, there was basically a chase between the Navy in their jets and this weird tic-tac UFO that was zipping and zopping all over the place, dropped into the water, vanished, came back. And they were out in the middle of nowhere. And so this footage existed for a long time, but was classified, or at least not released to the public. I don't know if it was ever officially, top secret.
Yeah.
But a man named Louis Elizondo, who retired from his role at the Pentagon, came out and he started talking about the Pentagon programs that they had at the time. It was called ATIP, which was like the aerial. Let me look up what ATIP stands for, because now we have Aero, but for a while we had ATIP.
Was it not called Just the Tip?
Just a
Just a
tip.
tip.
Just a tip. It's the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program. Okay. And he basically, this guy, Louis Elizondo, came out to the New York Times and said, guess what? We've been studying UFOs. The military's been watching them. We have footage that we can't explain, and we don't know what all of this stuff is. Mm-hmm. So this kicked off a brand new era of re-interest in the UFO phenomenon and a series of congressional hearings that have been kind of going on since then under both the Trump administration and the Biden administration, where Congress is trying to get to the bottom of what does the Pentagon and the military know, and where, because Congress, the important thing to remember is that Congress holds the purse strings. They're the ones who decide how the government spends money. They decide the budget. So it's coming out that there are all of these, there are whistleblowers that have come out. We don't know if they're real or not. Like this guy, David Grush, who you may have heard about in the past year.
Grush, that sounds like a fake name.
David Grush.
David Grush.
David Grush came out about, almost a year ago and said there are biologics, non-earthly biologics that have been found. So vague about what biologics are. But he had never seen anything firsthand. But when you have anybody who said they served in the government or the military saying the government has recovered these crafts and they've recovered things that they don't know what they are, generally the public will go, the Pentagon's saying that aliens are real, right?
Well,
right.
Just to interject something that I'm not a full fact is that I forget at what point in history they did give the Pentagon the ability to not tell the government everything, right? So the Pentagon actually legally can withhold information even from the president of the United States if they feel that it is for the betterment of for national security or whatever.
I know they did that with the CIA under Truman because basically they needed to, back when the CIA was really the hardcore old school CIA, they wanted a way to pull off operations where the president could have plausible deniability if they went and assassinated another leader in another country.
He had nothing to do with it. He didn't know.
So
and
I know
I'm sure
that
to investigate internally as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
So anyway, over the past year, we've seen an uptick in congressional hearings because Congress wants to know, okay, if they're studying these things, where's the money coming from and how is the money being spent? That's their excuse for wanting to hear about, okay, if you're telling us there are off the books programs that are retrieving these materials, studying these materials that have maybe crashed or that are trying to build through reverse engineering crafts that they've found, then who's doing it, who knows about it, and where's the money coming from, and why haven't we been told where the money's going, basically. Whoa. But what generally people will do is they'll just read a headline saying, where the Pentagon just came out and said that UFOs are real.
That's what I do.
Yeah, and most of the time,
yep, I knew it.
What they're hearing or what they're seeing is Louis Elizondo, the same guy who's been talking about this since 2017, who used to work at the Pentagon with ATIP, and now he's an independent guy. He's now in the independent, he basically went on to create an entertainment company with Tom DeLonge from Blink-182. That has since dissolved, but he's writing books, he's doing conferences, he's doing lectures, and I do think that he still has people he's connected to on the inside where he's leaking some of this video stuff that's coming out and getting them to podcasts like Weaponize, helping get them to people like Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, and then we end up seeing it on TikTok and Instagram.
Yes.
So that's kind of what's generally happening right now.
And just to say it too, that UFO doesn't always it's unidentified flying,
right.
It doesn't
flying object.
It doesn't mean alien.
Not necessarily, because things could be an unidentified flying object that then is okay, we know exactly what that was.
And now they use a term called UAP, which is unidentified aerial phenomenon, because they feel like that better encapsulates things like orbs, or drones that are unidentifiable, or balloons that, because there are balloons out there, that haven't been identified yet.
Yep,
Balloon boy. So UAP is a big term.
R.I.P. No.
He's alive. He survived.
UAP is a big term now. And now there's a new Pentagon program called Arrow, which stands for the Advanced. Let's see, this is where I always get all of these guys mixed up.
It's so funny. They are like just trying to come up with what's a cool acronym.
AARO is All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. So this has basically replaced ATIP. And AARO has a public face. They're a Pentagon program with a public face. And they've basically been like, okay, now we want to hear your stories. Tell us everything that you've seen. Write to us. There's like a hotline. There are places that you can send stuff in. And they are trying to... There are leaks that are coming out, and then there's like AARO trying to be like, here's what we're going to give you. And a lot of the ufologists and hardcore deep researchers out there don't trust AARO because AARO is a government program.
Yep, dude.
So all of these people are everyone's suspicious of everybody else.
Yes.
And nobody really, there's not like, nobody knows who knows what. Nobody knows who's giving real information and who's distributing disinformation.
Yep.
Because there's this other thing of like, the military might want us to think all of this stuff is UFOs, so we're not paying attention to
what they're making,
the advanced AI powered spy technology that they could maybe use against their own citizens. You know what I mean? Like, if we're going to get like into it, right?
I did think there's something suspicious about the timing of this and like the French Revolutionary vibes that we're having right now, that they're like, maybe they're testing how they could actually control entire areas of the country if there were to be an uprising.
Well, and this all started happening. The recent wave, this is all prefaced to the drone sightings that are happening.
Yeah.
The drone stuff happened on the heels of the latest congressional hearings between whistleblowers. Again, Louis Elizondo was back out there, a couple independent reporters, and then the guy who is in charge of AARO, the All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. So this all kind of started around the same time. So who the hell? And also around the election. Like, it seems it's all like November was a very weird, busy month in the grand scheme of things. So here we are. Since early November, mid-November really is when they started really picking up. In and around northern New Jersey, but it has started to spread. Now, in fact, there's places in Maryland and New York as of this morning that are getting this stuff. I watched footage of orbs and possible drones over New York City that was taken late last night. People have been saying they are seeing car-sized drones appear around sunset and will fly over their neighborhoods. And we're talking dozens of these things overnight, if not, I don't think we're in the hundreds, but definitely dozens.
Right.
And people are like, there's a big one. There's like, unfortunately, iPhones have a really hard time filming things that have lights on them.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
So people are seeing these things sometimes hover in a single space for hours. And they're saying that their lights will be on it, and they'll point their camera or a flashlight towards them, and suddenly they go dark. People have seen them change shape. There's been claims of like, it looked like this, then it grew wings and started to look more like a plane and flew off.
What?
And nobody knows where these drones are coming from, or what they are. And at times it seems there are even people seeing drones and orbs, or drones and planes. So it feels like there's a whole mishmash of man-made craft, airplanes, orbs, and possibly actual quote-unquote UFOs all flying around in the sky at the same time. Everyone is confused and nobody knows what's going on. It also, the weird thing that's happened is we got a heads up from a listener in Scotland who, before the New Jersey stuff happened, these drones were also showing up over U.S. military bases in the UK. And people in Scotland and England were reporting seeing these things, and then they started showing up in New Jersey.
What?
Is there a base near where they're showing up in New Jersey?
Yes, there is. It's called the Pinatiki. It's like a really weird name base in Jersey. Let me see. So this is what caught the What is this base? Military base.
Pennsatucky,
Military.
a character in Orange is the New Black.
It's Picatinny Arsenal.
Picatinny.
Now this is where things get put on your global conspiracy theories. So Picatinny Arsenal base, they've been showing up over there, and they've been showing up over Trump's Bedminster golf course. And so people started to go, why are they hanging out over these places? Now, the Picatinny Arsenal is interesting because Picatinny Arsenal is making ammunitions that are being sent to Ukraine. So a lot of people, I'm going to say a lot of people, but one of the conspiracy theories about these drones is that they are Russian. They're of Russian origins, and they are spying on Trump's golf course, and they're spying on the Picatinny Arsenal base because that's where Ukraine is getting some arsenal to counterattack Russia with.
I thought you were going to go the other way and say that they're testing stuff to send to Ukraine to send into Russia.
It's possible because this is the other thing that the war in Ukraine has seen a massive uptick in drone warfare. And so some people think that what we're seeing could possibly be the private sector getting involved and showing off what they can do
to get the government contracts.
To get the government to go, fuck, if they're sneaking up on us and getting over our military bases, we could be in business with these guys.
Yeah. I have friends that have worked in government contracts making robotics and stuff, and which is crazy because my friend worked for 17 years just trying to get a robot that could climb a hill. It's really hard to make them climb, especially once they're holding anything. Once they're have anything they have to bring up or down, then all of a sudden it's then they start tumbling. So 17 years.
I did just watch a robot slowly walking down a hill.
Honestly,
and it kept almost falling.
Yeah.
And my friend left the company. He literally came out of I think MIT, and that was his first job, and then he finally left to go work on something else that he does at an airfield, which we don't know what that is, but.
Right.
Well, I got on YouTube this morning just to be okay, what are, because there's stories about these shape-shifting drones. And I was okay, what are our drone capabilities? I mean, there are people working on, as of a year ago, shape-shifting drones. Okay, they exist. We can make them. They're they look like there's one called a Dragon that's still in its development phase, but it looks like a long snake. It's got tons of little propellers on it, but it can turn itself into a square. It can turn itself into X's. Whoa. It can change its shape. It can be it can look like helixes to get through tight corners. It looks like a little dragon that can move around in the sky.
And that one they're happily showing to people, where it's there's so much shit that people are we're not gonna show you.
This video is just a guy in Japan who's making this stuff, right? It's not even working for the U.S. military.
Yeah.
But scientists are also making bug-sized drones, that are the size of bees that can potentially help pollinate because the bee population's dying.
Cool.
That if you're working on a jet engine, it can fly in like Ant-Man and with a camera, and you can get into a huge jet engine and fix something or see what the problem is.
Yes, I heard Dennis Quaid talking about this years ago.
Oh yeah,
inner
what
space.
Right?
He wasn't in inner space. Right?
Yeah, that's a deep cut.
You can shrink down Martin Short, or no, you go into Martin Short's body.
Yeah.
I think. Are you talking about Rick Moranis? Oh no, you're talking about
Martin Short.
Both those guys.
I'm talking about inner space, right?
Yeah. And then Rick Moranis is involved too because he shrunk his kids.
He shrunk his kids. So we've got America's top scientists from the 80s working on these projects. But I'm just saying there is technology out there.
Yes.
And there are, I think people are also saying people don't realize that there are more unmanned civilian drones out there. And I think kind of when you were one day you just saw a bunch of Teslas on the road and you're when did everyone get a fucking Tesla, right?
Yes.
I think we're also seeing an explosion of civilians are flying big old boxy drones around now. I'm not saying this is the explanation for what's happening.
If nothing comes of this, but we stop those, if government says we have to stop those, that would be enough. I would be so happy because nothing annoys me more that when I hear him,
Yeah.
oh,
And you're like, what the fuck? Oh, okay.
It makes me PMO. It pisses me off.
So what's happening basically is New Jersey residents are like, what's going on? And nobody has an answer. Okay?
And they're doing congressional hearings like every fucking day.
The White House came out yesterday. They're like, we don't know what they are, but they don't pose a threat. Okay?
Which makes me think that it's ours.
Which would make you think that, right? Except the Pentagon came out the day before. Sabrina Singh, who is this Pentagon spokesperson, and she said these are not U.S. military, but they don't seem to pose a threat. She shot down. There was a
Iranian mothership.
Yeah.
What was
what's
the
his
congressman's name?
Congressman Drew. Congressional. So this congressman from New Jersey got on Fox News earlier this week, Jeff Van Drew, and said that he's like, I'm going to tell you the real deal. I've got intel from some top people, and he said the real deal is that a month ago Iran launched a mothership and it's hanging out over the ocean on the East Coast, and it's launching these drones from a mothership. And the Pentagon came out and said that is absolutely untrue. There's not an Iranian mothership out over the ocean, Atlantic Ocean right now.
Can I just tell you, this week I had a company dinner party. We were all the writers from my show. We're at Musso and Frank's, and I'm screaming. I was like, so this guy says there's an Iranian mothership, and the Pentagon's like, no, there's not. And then the waiter comes up and hands me the bill, and I just screamed, I don't have any money. So that's as far as I know about Iranian motherships.
Yeah, and people don't, like the people that I listen to, like Jeremy Corbell, George Knapp, Ryan Sprague. Yeah. No, they don't have a good answer. I think the one thing that like Corbell's been saying is it's bullshit that the government can't track them, because that's the other thing that's happening is these people don't know where the drones are being launched from, and everyone's like, well, drones have to go back someplace. Right. And they're saying that there's an inability to track them going back to their source. That either they don't show up on radar, which seems ridiculous. They have lights, so they want to be seen. They want to be noticed. But apparently, there's no way of tracking these things, which I would agree is bullshit. I would have to think that our airspace is heavily monitored and heavily tracked.
Especially
that we would
after
have to
9/11. Like,
exactly.
Yes.
So the government right now, the government and the military are basically saying it's not us, but it doesn't seem to be a threat. Which is not a good answer.
So here's what the theories that pop into my mind when I hear that. Mm-hmm. Number one, I assume immediately this is our government. That's why they're not doing anything. But why won't they stop if people are so upset? And it's on the news now. My parents are hearing about it back home, so it's not just TikTok. So if it is the government, why won't they stop if everyone's freaking out? Unless they want to see if someone can track them. If civilians will get involved and there is someone who can track. Maybe it's a big test like that. Like, we think this is untraceable. Could it be tracked? But also it's like, okay, but why are we causing so much distrust in the government to prove this? So that's one thing that I think. And then the other one is like, it could be Russia, and they don't want to start a world war right now. They're waiting.
It could be China too.
It could be China. Absolutely. That's how Donald Trump says it, right? China.
Yeah. China.
That's my great Donald Trump impression. So, and then they just don't want to start international incident, unless someone else starts it first. Or they're like, yeah, it's fucking aliens, guys, and we talk to them and we think they're cool, but we don't know, and they said we can't say anything.
Yeah, I mean, so my mind has gone to obviously a number of places. One, I think there's a really good argument that these things are privately owned and operated by some big tech company or military contractor that's showing off what they can do. Because the thing that's happening back in the war in Ukraine, these drones are limited. They're limited in range. So they're trying to figure out new ways of being able to move these drones further and further into Russia for counterattacks. So one thing that might be happening is they could have been testing an aircraft that is ours or that is in the private contractor that can fly over an area and then deploy these drones. So it could be a thing like there is some sort of quote unquote mothership, but the mothership is just a big plane someplace.
One of our undetectable,
that releases, and then they go up.
And maybe that's flying up the northeastern seaboard and then deploying these as a test.
Yeah.
And then to see how they fly over civilian areas, and then they can gather the data of how many people are seeing them, and then they can put all of that together in a pitch deck and say, here's why you should hire us to make these things, because we can do X, Y, and Z with this technology.
For $16 billion, this can all be yours.
Exactly. And then these things are the size of a car, which means they can absolutely drop a payload. They can drop supplies for refugees. They can, there are a million things that you could use these things for.
And even the government could know that they're private sector, but still have the... we have nothing
because
to do
they also
with it,
don't want to tip their hat to any other nation that they're in competition with of this is what we're working on. So I think there's a very good chance it could be something like that.
Could it also be like theater too, as a flex to other countries to say
100%.
Like, you see what we're doing over here?
Yes.
So why don't you guys, just so you know, we're working on this technology. It's like we got nukes,
100%. It could be that. The other thing it could be, if we want to get into some real UFO conspiracy theory stuff, I could see this being a smoke and mirrors thing, because maybe they know there's some real genuine UFO stuff coming. That more leaks are coming, or that they might know that we got it, because there have been times throughout history where we've had big UFO flaps. One case that comes to mind that this reminds me of is the Hudson Valley, what's called the Hudson Valley invasion, that happened in the mid 80s. And this was a fleet of, over the course of 2 years, mass sightings like we're having in New Jersey right now of black triangular UFOs with multicolored bright Christmas lights.
I feel I've heard of this.
Boomerang shaped UFOs, chevron shaped UFOs, and black triangles. And we're talking thousands of people were seeing these things hovering over their houses. They looked like real spooky sci-fi alien spacecraft. So maybe we're in a situation where the government is now at least well informed enough to know that a flap is coming, or there's going to be an uptick in UAP and UFO activity. So they're cluttering the narrative by dropping their own drones and making them look like drones, and making them sort of look like UFOs, or making them look like orbs, or making them look like planes, just to pump more confusion into the public imagination and make it harder to understand what the hell is going on out there. That's one idea. This is a whole disinformation program.
Or a distraction
That's really interesting
from something else
it's interesting
that's happening.
too, because the distraction that but in the 60s there was another big influx of it, right?
This is the thing that we also have to remember, is that this is not the first time this stuff has happened. There was a huge flap in the late 40s and early 50s. And back then we had Project Blue Book, which is basically what Arrow is today. It was the government collecting stories. Now that they had a real hardline mission by the Air Force to debunk as many of these things as possible. And I think try to intimidate and write off and make light of the UFO phenomenon and make eyewitnesses seem cuckoo.
The Men in Black.
Right.
Showing up at people's houses and basically threatening them so they won't speak about it.
Right.
Yes.
And I think this is because either people were seeing top secret military aircraft in development that they didn't want, other countries we're in the middle of the Cold War, didn't want Russia finding out about, or that they're seeing actual alien spacecraft, or foreign spacecraft at the very least, that was that the military didn't know how to protect us against. So they also don't want that going out to the public.
I guess the only thing that like makes me think it might not have been military is that we never saw those type machines come to fruition that we would have found out about in actual warfare later, right? Like, we never did find flying saucers being like, oh, that's what they're being used for.
But there are historical documents that they tried to build flying saucers and failed.
But chicken or the egg, though, right?
But I would also say the B-52, the stealth bomber that's one that people point to and say that's from reverse, and that's one of the things that we've created, because that's a plane that can take off like this without a runway. It avoids radar detection, and at the time was like cutting. It's a black triangle. Yeah, it was like cutting edge technology.
Because on the flip side, I was thinking, like, if we're having these happen like every 20, 30 years or so, right? That if it is from if it's non-terrestrial, if it's from another planet, like, think how far away it would have to be and how long it would take for them to get here. And we're just seeing their advancements in technology come.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And also I think there's the theory that's also been floated out there publicly lately that there are underwater bases where these things have been hanging out for basically like how we have military bases in other countries. They have their own version of military bases that are underwater. And a lot of
Atlantis, ever heard of it?
They've been here for thousands of years observing us, and they hide under the water, because there's also stories of like these aircraft, the UFOs being transmedium, which means they can be underwater or they can be in the sky.
Yes.
Because that was, I think it was in 2020 when there was another like big New York Times article about Navy pilots, I believe. And this is all off the top of my head. And I actually do try to ignore this stuff because it freaks me out. Mm-hmm. But like Navy pilots being like, yes, we saw it. It disappeared into the ocean, right? That's talking about the Tic Tac, the Nimitz. And what's happened since that article came out, I think one of the biggest distinctions between now and the era of Project Blue Book or the other congressional hearings that happened in the late 60s is that now there does seem to be a real move to destigmatize the eyewitnesses, especially those who are in the military, and encourage them to come forward, because there used to be no way to report these things. If you're flying around in an F-15 fighter, you might go to your commanding officer and they'll say, don't talk about that. So now they're trying to create a way for and encourage people to come forward who are in the military and talk about what they've seen, which that's new, this idea. And I think just generationally, having grown up in the world that we've grown up in with more sci-fi, and a generation that grew up on the X-Files and all of this stuff, I think there are more adults and more people in our generation in the military and in the government now that are like, no, we should talk about this. It doesn't make you crazy if you've seen a UFO. The other thing that I was thinking of in that, I lost my train of thought, but if you want to go to the third realm of real spooky, like kooky UFO stuff, is it could be that these things are alien, that they aren't from this world, but they are mimicking drones and mimicking man-made technology as a way to either, I mean, we can get real weird here, either consciously as a way to flex or just disguise themselves. So we're going, they're drones. Where are they from? Instead of like looking like flying saucer, like a traditional UFO. Yes. Or there is something about the UFO phenomenon, and this is really, there's a real out there theory that how they appear in our reality is dependent upon how we visualize technology. Our ability to process it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So drones are a thing now.
It's like Pennywise. Like, what are you most afraid of? And like, it's what you can conceive of, essentially. Or
it's basically like
what our brains can.
Yeah, that there is some sort of psychic interaction between these things. These things are physical, but they're also partially a psychic phenomenon that we do not at all understand. And the real reason the government cannot tell us about these things is because they, at the end of the day, cannot wrap. We as a human species can't wrap our brain around what type of fifth dimensional construct these things are, right?
Yeah.
That's like in Slaughterhouse 5 when he gets put in that like zoo on the other planet and he can't see anybody and they're like, your brain cannot understand what we look like.
Right.
Like, so you see nothing because you could not even fathom what we're
we
like.
can only perceive how light interacts with three dimensions, and we can only see a small spectrum of the we have just a small scope of the visual spectrum. We can't see an infrared, we can't see X-rays.
I mean, I think proven that even with color theory that like there were times in history where the human eye just did not recognize certain colors,
like
and
pink and yellow used to be the same thing. It's weird
and
stuff.
As we've evolved, we've been able to actually to recreate colors. We've increased our range of what we can actually process with our cones and rods. It's all cones and rods based.
It's all cones and rods, y'all.
Dude.
And so why do we think that whatever this is, if there are aliens, these are interdimensional craft or intergalactic craft, why do we think that they absolutely have to fall into our own visual understanding of the world around us? They could be, if we could see things in infrared, or if we could see it on another spectrum, we might see full alien grays walking around us all the time.
That's like Arrival, right? Was that in Arrival where like that there's like a big ship there the whole time or something?
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember.
I think so. That sounds familiar. But it's just that idea of like, why do we think this thing plays by? We're just built to be here on Earth.
My cats could probably see it.
Well, that's why they think
cats are always staring at something. Yeah.
So this could just be something so far beyond our comprehension that, like, as ridiculous as it sounds, that it shows up looking like a drone. We don't know how it operates. Maybe it's pulling images from our collective unconsciousness and presenting itself to be like, okay, we can disguise ourselves as a drone flying through the sky because now everybody knows what drones look like.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't explain why things looked like flying saucers in the past and we still see weird shaped UFOs today, obviously. But I think
those could be different
things.
There's
not just one thing.
Absolutely. It could be different planets of technology too.
Different dimensions of technology.
Different
timelines.
Different timelines.
This is why I think when I come across it, I see just enough to be like, oh, it's happening. And then my brain literally won't let me absorb any more information because I can't care about this. I literally have to care about what's in front of me right now.
Right. Well,
because there's no answers.
This is what I've used this example before on BCC, but like sit your cats down. Sit your dog down, Marcy, and explain to them how health insurance works. Explain to them who the president of the United States is and who the next president of the United States is going to be. Tell them about the entertainment industry. Tell them about where you go and your auditions. Tell them about network tests for TV shows, right? Like, your dogs are in the same reality as you are, but they're not in the same reality.
They're not dogs, though, right? They're cats.
Well, but I got a dog. Betsy's got a dog.
Michael's got a dog.
I'm just saying. I'm also thinking of my dogs. Like, talk to a bird about taxes. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way we can even communicate with these other species how we interact with this world and how things are structured, right?
Yeah, my cats are anarchists, so they don't. They're like, no, that doesn't make sense.
So why would an alien try to explain the true nature of reality to us? We're not going to be able. We don't have the biological ability.
We can't handle
to even understand what they're saying. Right? I mean,
that was like kind of a big part of Arrival was like, not only did we not understand their language, it's not even formed the way, much less like what would our understanding be of what they're trying to say.
Right.
Yeah, because we would try to force it into what we
into the narrow lane of our own realities.
Yes.
As highly evolved as we are or are not, as powerful the consciousness is, who the fuck? I mean, like, take an ant, take an ant off the sidewalk to go watch Wicked. You know what I mean? Like, what are we
and
gonna...
then explain the whole Ariana Grande affair thing with Bach.
Tell that ant. So see this guy, see this munchkin. She's
broke up his family
for her.
She broke up his family. He bailed on his family.
And honestly, I do think of Ariana sort of as she is a drone. She's coming in to confuse people, and how you react to her is really like that's on you, and she's just coming in. Like, if you have an affair with her, that's on you. Ariana's just out there, you know, and she's just testing your boundaries of what you can understand and perceive.
That'll be real fun when people start having like love affairs with these drones in our skies, because that's coming eventually.
Yeah,
and one was allegedly shot down too.
Oh yes, last night I believe
people are shooting at them now.
Even though the government, well, I think there was a crash.
There was a crash in the Pine Barrens of all places, which is where the Jersey Devil lives. Yeah.
Lives currently does live.
Now that Jersey Devil's got drone technology, we all gotta run.
That's what he was all along.
It could have been.
Right.
I mean, people often say that, like, when they talk about, not often, and not all people, but there is a fact.
All people always say.
A faction of people who believe that maybe angels were alien creatures.
Sure, of course, yeah.
Oh, that would make sense.
Coming in on their
like,
chariots.
seeing these things. And
the only thing they understood was chariots and fire. So they said it's a chariot of fire.
And God and evil or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I just mean visually. Like, all they they were like, oh, it's a giant angel with wings. And it's like, that could have been a ship.
Again, it's the phenomenon interacting with the imaginations and the technology as understood by the time to appear to them as something like they'll understand.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But also be like, but this chariot flew in the sky. It was weird. You know?
Yeah. And that's why they were so afraid of them. They were scary.
Yeah, I'd be scared. So the end of the day with the stuff in New Jersey is nobody has a good answer yet. And again, like Marcy said, maybe by the time this drops, we'll know more. I think we're going to learn a little bit more, but this could also just like fade. A lot of these flaps just die down, and then people stop talking about them. And then 10 years from now, someone will have a UFO podcast where they'll go back and research and look at this stuff. And over the next 10 years, little things will trickle out, and people will start saying, well, this happened to me during that period, like 5 years later. Yep. And we might have more of a perspective of what was going on. But I also think this might be because... this is one of the things that I forgot to mention that I when I was losing my train of thought. These drone incursions, if you want to call them, have been happening over the past couple of years over other military bases. This isn't the first time that this has happened. Like this has been going on for at least a year and a half. It's just the biggest drone incursion and the one that's caught the most public attention. But I think I would not be surprised if like 5 years from now, we're all seeing car-sized drones in the sky all the time. And we'll be like, that's the Amazon drone dropping off somebody's new TV.
It's interesting though, even like for like on Saturday of last week, I went to my friend's child's like dance recital, and she looked up and the sign said, she's 4 years old, and she said the moon's a half circle. And I do think even I'm only saying this to be like, maybe people are just seeing it more because it's not a full moon right now. Like, interesting. And then as more light is in the sky, it will drown out what you can see. It's like how you can't see stars on a full moon. You can't or you can't see the northern lights when the moon is full. So if you're planning a trip, you should plan it around the moon cycle so it's as dark as possible.
Oh, of course.
So who even fucking knows, man?
Who knows? That's the thing. Nobody knows. Somebody knows, but
I think
they're not telling us.
Knows more.
I think they know. I think they do too.
I think they know more than.
I think they're in control of it, or else they would be like, we have to chill out for a second because this is reaching a fever pitch.
This is why it all comes back to the UFO phenomenon, because if the government knows, why aren't they telling us? And if they know and can't stop it, what's the purpose of having a government if they can't protect us from whatever the hell is flying around up there? The one thing they've been consistently saying across every department is they don't seem to pose a threat. So that might be their way of saying, trust us. trust us. This isn't going to hurt you.
Yeah, of like, just shush, be quiet, trust us.
Yeah. Mommy and Daddy
Even
are
though we know
talking.
more than you think or whatever. Yes,
Don't
yeah.
worry, Biden's got us, guys.
Yeah, don't worry. He's going to pardon all these drones, y'all. Don't worry.
Don't worry. He's got a few weeks left. He can do whatever he likes.
And then really don't worry.
Did you watch?
I'll
Marcy,
never worry again, and we'll never have to vote or worry again.
Oh God! And I will never have to make a. We'll never have to get to make a decision.
Did you watch What Would Happen? Watch What Happens live last night with Craig from Southern Charm on it, Marcy?
Oh, I've only seen clips of it, but he very funnily is like one of those. He's a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, they were talking about his conspiracy theorists, and the one thing that he said that I was like, that's actually a pretty good take is. Craig was like, I'm worried these things are leaving the planet, and if they're leaving, that's a real bad sign for us. If they're getting off the planet, funny. That means they know something bad's coming, and we should all be worried. And I was like, honestly, that's great. I love that.
That is so funny, and like, yeah, maybe they are like,
Craig Conover, one of my
some bad shit's happening.
Craig Conover is my favorite male reality star,
mine too.
hands down.
Who is? I'm gonna.
He's on Southern Charm, but he also is dating Paige DeSorbo from Summer House.
Yes,
and he used to be a real disaster. Went to law school, couldn't get past the bar. Then decided to become a pillow maker, and then is really into conspiracies. Last night on Watch What Happens Live, he said, "I've never lied on camera,"
which was wild.
And he said in the episode that aired tonight, there's a compilation of you lying on camera. He's like, I don't think so. I don't think I've ever done it.
Andy's face a couple times was really telling and really funny.
That is so funny.
I do love that he was like, I don't want to be a lawyer. I want to sew.
And then he's become like a huge like pillow
huge
mogul.
Success. Yeah. Yeah. And his pillows are like not great.
No.
They're very like they're very like not knocking home goods, but I mean like I'm like that's the pattern that you picked. It's like
but that's
nutcrackers.
That's why it's
like,
so smart. It's like it's seasonal. You'll buy more. Like Oh gosh. Betsy, are you looking up Craig Conover?
Yes, and which one? What's Southern Charm? Which one
Southern
is that
Charm,
one? Where they have a bar in South Carolina?
No, Southern Charm was that's a spinoff.
Southern Hospitality.
That's a spinoff from Southern Charm. Southern Charm.
I watched that on an.
That's a
airplane
great plane watch.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun plane. Okay,
the
Southern
conspiracy
Charm.
of Southern Charm is that Bravo wanted their version of, instead of housewives, they centered around women. They were like, we're trying a show that's centered around men. So it was centered around Shep, Craig,
Playboys of the South.
Yes,
Oh
Whitney,
my
who is the
God.
executive producer, and Thomas Ravenel,
who's a disgraced politician.
Yes, and so they were like,
Funny.
but it's really hard to center a show around these men because like they're such disasters, and usually the people who really shine through are the women around them,
but they keep breaking up with them
They
and
can't-
leaving the show.
Yeah, they can't keep these relationships going.
Of course.
So it's another interesting
Whoa.
thing.
Oof.
So okay, that's.
Michael, thank you so
Did
much.
that clear anything up?
I mean, it's an explanation of what. It's not clear, but
No.
it's an explanation of what is currently where we currently are today, Friday, the 13th of December, 2024, at 11:26 a.m. Now, like I said, we don't get a ton of UFO stuff on this podcast, but I do have a few listener stories. If you would care to listen to them with us, okay.
Always.
Yes, let's
I'm going to
do
pull
it.
them up right dang now.
Hi, Marcy and Betsy. My name is Rachel, she, her. I've written in a few stories and finally being brave enough to send an audio recording because I did not know how to write all of this. So just wanted to share with you my UFO encounter. So when I was in my early 20s, I was dog sitting for my aunt and uncle. They lived out in a rural area, like there's no telephone poles or anything like that. And it was pretty late one night. It was like 11:30 or close to midnight. and I was heading that way to go stay there for the night. So I'm driving down these roads, and they did not live far from my house. So driving down these old country roads, and as I'm getting closer to their house, I look in the sky and I see these 3 orange balls, light balls, balls of light. That's how normal people say that. See these 3 balls of light in the sky in a line, but like an angled line, angled up. And I am a forever scaredy cat. I'm more brave now, but at that time of my life, complete scaredy cat. Like, I do not like to be in the dark alone. I'm scared of everything. Very, very scared. But this was just, these lights were just so unique and insane looking. They were close, but also up in the sky. And I don't know what came over me, but I pulled my car over to the side of the road and I stayed in my car, but I had to just stop and look at these lights. And so these 3 lights, orange lights, they're moving across the sky, all in a uniform angle, essentially, with, some space in between each one. I look way up ahead of me because my lights were on my car, obviously, because it's the middle of the night. There's another car pulled over and a dude standing outside of his car staring up at the sky. So we were the only cars around. He was pretty far away. So I was like, okay, I'm not seeing things. So as I'm watching these lights, they're moving up through the sky. And then all of a sudden, one of them just kind of, zoop. That's the sound effect. It just kind of disappears, but it was like it hit warp speed and just went and disappeared into the sky. A couple seconds later, the second light gets to that same spot. Same thing. Disappears. A couple seconds after, the third light gets to the exact same spot in the sky. Disappears into nothingness. So that is what I saw. I have no idea what it was. Months, maybe years later, I'm really bad time. My husband and I were driving home at night, and we saw, again, 3 orange lights in the sky in a triangle shape. And they were moving across the sky. Again, no explanations for what any of this is, but I'm pretty sure it was aliens. So that is my alien story. I will send some more ghost stories later. So thank you. Love the pod. Love you both and all that you do. I consume all of your content. So thank you for that. Okay, bye.
Thoughts?
What the fuck?
Sounds like somebody has a little intergalactic portal in their neighborhood.
Right? Especially them having to fly to the one spot to then zoop up.
Yeah. So weird.
Whoa.
Did they? I can't remember. Did she say where they lived?
No, I don't think so.
I
Right?
wonder what part of the country this was.
I also,
Yeah.
when she said that she was compelled to pull over, I was like, what if you missed some time there?
Yes, I thought about that too. Like, that's when people tend to get abducted in these stories. By the way,
And that you just got
is when you
not
pull over.
know that she thinks she pulled over,
Or you're
but
compelled.
she wasn't in control of whatever happened. And
ushered
then
out
was-
of the car by alien greys, put
and then
aboard.
was put back to watch them leave. Like,
Yeah.
What? Oh my god!
I forgot to mention when we were talking about the drones. There's one family that claims that they were following a drone in their car and their clock jumped an hour and then jumped back to regular time.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I got chills.
Did that happen like maybe 3.5 weeks ago when time changed?
Yeah, right. Maybe, yeah, right. Jump back. I think about that too. Anytime you remember pulling over to look at a UFO in your car and then calmly driving home afterwards, maybe you talk to a hypno-regression therapist and see what happens.
You might be an abductee.
He might have gotten
Wow, so what you're telling me is you gotta just you gotta just gun
you gotta gun it.
If you
Don't
see
stop.
anything weird. You gotta just fucking slam on that gas.
Because
and go.
that's when they turn towards you and head your way. Because there also seems to be a way that they are aware in all of these stories, and even in some of these drone stories, people claim that they're aware of as aware of them as they are of the UFO itself.
Yeah, like once you like see them,
look at it.
They see. You know, that's an interesting thing about that is just like even for humans, like I've heard like people who are sharpshooters or that they're shooters for the military. They say when you have a target, look at their feet, because for some reason if you look at a person's eyes, that they all of a sudden can see you. And when I cross the street, I always do that. When I'm a pedestrian, I always look at the car. I look at the driver of the car to be like, you see me, just making sure you see me.
It's even beyond that. This is so funny. This is the second time this has come up in a podcast this week. We just had Tenny on the show for a future episode.
Oh, we love him.
And we were talking about extrasensory perception, and he was saying the same thing. He's like, spies are trained to, when you're tailing someone, look at their feet, but you never look at the back of their head, because people can sense when you're being looked at, and they'll turn around and they'll see you. So you trail people by looking at their feet. Isn't that wild? I was like, dude, you just fucking blew my mind. That makes so much sense.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
Because you do feel it. You feel like when you're like, what's going on?
Yeah, which is weird because eyes don't project anything. It's their lenses. They receive light. We don't like beam anything out of our eyes. So it really is like a weird sense of connection when you're being looked at.
So, okay, here's another one. And they sent an email. It says, my uncle saw a UFO while on duty as an RCMP officer. And they said that this was in two parts. I recorded this first part back in July. Then my dog started barking, and it's taking me 5 months to record the last minute.
Hard relate.
It says ADHD is a hell of a diagnosis. Sorry, it's in two parts. Here's a story of my uncle going, all caps, on record after seeing a UFO while being on duty as a RCMP, Canadian police officer, in the 1970s. The story, or in 1970, the story has been published in a book that I mentioned in the note, Love, Chantel. So I'm going to play this right now.
I love this.
Okay, sweet.
Hi, Marcy and Betsy. My name is Chantel. I'm a big fan. Marcy, I'm especially fond of your podcasts. I'm both a 90-day bear and a loser. I'm one of those listeners that believes that if we met in real life, we'd be friends. I know this normally sounds weird, but hear me out. We both have 3 cats, like martinis, and are small-town gals who made it in the city. If you're ever in Toronto, hit me up and we'll go to a WNBA game. I'm glad that you mentioned on the latest episode that you're wanting voice notes specifically, because I've been on the fence if I should send an email or record a call, and I love the direction. So here we go. The story is about my uncle, a retired RCMP officer who is on record seeing a UFO while on duty. For you Americans, RCMP is the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, so it's the police officers in the red uniforms that ride the horses. I found out about my uncle's experience while visiting him last weekend. I checked with my brother later, and he did know the story of the UFO sighting, but the reason my uncle brought it up within the first 10 minutes of me being there is because his story was actually recently published in a book called In Search of Adventure, 70 Years of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police in Newfoundland and Labrador by Helen C. Escott. So the story is as follows. The year is 1970, and my uncle Greg is a 20-year-old junior RCMP officer in Newfoundland, Canada. Newfoundland and Labrador is the province most east in Canada. So it was 2:00 in the morning, and after attending to an incident, my uncle, Constable Civicki, and his partner, Constable Bob McKinnon, parked their patrol car in a parking lot near a lake and began writing up their notes. Suddenly, a very bright white light lit up the sky and then came over to the car about 20 feet away. Constable McKinnon noticed it first, but didn't say anything because he wasn't sure if he was imagining it. And I think he wanted to wait and see if my uncle noticed it too. After a few minutes, my uncle was the first one to speak up and said, "Do you see what I see?" They had no idea what they were looking at, so for fun, they turned on the red light on top of their patrol car. The white light that they had been looking at then turned red. So back then, the cars had the patrol, like police cars, had the cherry on top lights. So they switched it from solid red to flashing. Sure enough, the light in front of them began flashing, mimicking what their patrol car light was doing. So both men are on record with this story. They both say that they didn't feel threatened or afraid and actually felt calm and mesmerized. So these two men watched the light hover above the water. It would go up, come back down. When they put on the blue light on the patrol car, the light before them would turn blue. When they turned on the siren, the thing in front of them repeated the sound back to them. Whatever sound they made, it made the sound back. They describe it as floating about 100 feet off the water, being dense enough to see through, flying up to the sky, back down to the water, and moving left and right at an incredibly fast speed. They also describe it as being as big as an old 737, which I think is like a jet airplane. So this went on for 15 to 20 minutes before they radioed it into the St. John's headquarters, requesting that the nearby airport check to see if anything showed up on the radar. The airport reported back to them that there was nothing on their screens. It wasn't just my uncle and his partner who saw this. There were 8 other RCMP officers on duty that night who also reported seeing the same thing. So they did file official reports about it, but nothing ever came of it. I asked my uncle what he meant by that, and he just kind of shrugged it off and said that no one higher up ever followed up or asked any questions about it. Okay, to wrap this up, I'll just read a little bit of the end of their chapter. To this day, both Bob and I still have no idea what we encountered, but it was definitely some kind of UFO. Savicki and McKinnon followed up with the right channels. We put a report in on it, but never heard anything back, Savicki says. Nobody ever asked us about it. Nobody ever came to us. I told Greg if we report this, they're going to send us to the funny farm, McKinnon laughs. Both men went on to have respected careers in the RCMP. Greg Savicki retired from the RCMP as a corporal in 1984. He then joined the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, where he retired in 2004 with a combined service of 37 years. For the last 7 years of his career, he accepted the director's position of the Canadian Security Intelligence Service for Newfoundland and Labrador. They spoke of the UFO encounter several times over their careers, but admit there have been no visits from alien creatures or visits from government officials in black suits since then. Neither officer says the UFO encounter affected them or their careers in any way. I'll never forget it, though, admits Bob McKinnon. I'll swear to it to this day, adds Greg Savicki. So there you go. I 110,000% believe that story. My Uncle Greg is the most honest guy you'll ever meet in your life. And yeah, again, there was water involved. Yeah, so I can't wait to hear what you have to say about that. Thank you so much. Love you both. Bye.
Wow.
Really cool. I was listening to this story and I was like, I feel like we talked about this case on Bigfoot Collectors Club. I can't find that specific story, but I do know there's a case from October 26th of 1978 in Labrador, near Labrador. Constable James Blackwood drove cross town to locate the resident who got a call. He got a call from a resident saying, this is in Newfoundland, got a call saying that there's a strange craft hovering over the night skies on the coast. So the constable of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police was named James Blackwood. He went out and interacted with the craft in a similar way, where the craft was like flashing lights and I don't know. So there's a lot of UFO activity in and around this area of Canada in the 70s. There's also a big case that came out in the 50s. Let me see. Sorry, I'm pulling this all up from my notes. In the early 50s, there had been apparently 2 UFOs that were underwater off the coast of Nova Scotia. I believe. Let me see. The drowned UFOs of Newfoundland. Maybe not Nova Scotia, but basically that like there were people that a guy came out to investigate these UFO reports that there were 2 UFOs in the water and they could see little alien beings swimming around, working on the crafts.
Fixing
yeah, in his testimony. So this is Lieutenant Richard French.
The 50s.
Let me see. I think French was part of the RCMP. Let me look. Richard French. Okay, no. French was working for Blue Book at the time. Oh. And he went up to... This came out in a congressional hearing that happened in 2013. So French said, we had a UFO report and we want to investigate it. In his testimony, French said that he was taken to a wharf where a large crowd had gathered, including some policemen and divers in the water. The water was crystal clear, which allowed French to observe what appeared to be 2 submerged flying saucers about 18 feet in diameter and 3 feet deep, 20 feet below the water's surface. And not only that, but the occupants of the ships were swimming about. Here's a direct quote from his testimony. What I saw down there were 2 UFOs parked side by side, but I couldn't see anyone around either one of them. Then a little later, someone moved, one of the UFO occupants, and I guess, go ahead and call them what they are, the alien, moved over to the side and came into my line of sight. It was apparent to me that they were doing something to the craft, and I couldn't really tell what because they were on the bottom side of it and not visible to me, except when they would occasionally get over to the side where I could see them. The water was fairly clear, and I could see without any trouble. They weren't down at the bottom of the seabed. They were about halfway down. So they're all looking at these things for 15 to 20 minutes, and then they take off and they fly off into the sky.
They fixed it.
And this was in the early... Yeah, they fixed it.
They changed
their
tire.
This is in the early 50s.
Oh.
And that report, I don't think officially made it into Blue Book because it was so strange that they didn't... So he didn't disclose this story until 2013 during a congressional UFO hearing. But yeah, Newfoundland... That area, Nova Scotia, Shag Harbor, there's the Shag Harbor UFO incident. Like, that area's got a lot of activity.
I feel I've heard of that, yeah.
That also kind of goes to my theory of, like, where there is darkness, there's more to see there.
Yeah, the light pollution could disguise a lot of this activity for sure. Jesus. Great story. I love it.
Those were great.
Incredible. It felt like the thing was, like, trying to communicate with the cops or something. Of like, oh, you're doing this? Me too.
Again, that idea of once we look at these things, they start to interact with us, even from great distances.
Yes.
Also, I can't wait to go to a game with Chantel in Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Have fun. Go right now.
Go.
Okay. I mean, look, who knows?
Pack
Next
up and
week
go.
could be so fucked up. Might as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, you might be taking a drone there against your own will.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: as we're inching into the Christmas season, guys, I urge everyone to enjoy every fucking day you can, because life is getting crazier, and you just don't know what's going to happen, and you can't think too far ahead. Just have a good day today.
I like that, Marcy. Are you doing
No,
okay,
I really
Marcy?
like whenever Russia invaded Ukraine, I was like, anything could happen, guys. I'm freaked out.
I know.
I have to
I feel ever since like 2016, it's been very much like
you have to
that.
enjoy the day. You
Who knows?
You can't plan for tomorrow. Enjoy today.
I would say since for the last, I'm going to go ahead and say at the very least, the last 125 years, we've been living on the razor's edge, you know? Shit's always about to go down. So this is a good advice for now we just know more. Now we just see more.
We get a lot of information every day.
So while I agree with you, Marcy, it's like we seem to skate along this razor's edge. But I don't know how long we can keep it up.
Exactly.
But,
and I'm not saying because of anything.
Yeah.
I'm just saying just in case.
No, I'm with you.
I'm with you. I just wanted to make sure.
No.
Okay.
It's like years ago I came up with the no sighing rule. If I start sighing on my way to do something, that means I don't want to do it, and I should figure out my exit plan.
I had a big thing in therapy where it was like, if I say I should do this, then that means it's like a negative connotation where it's like, oh, I don't want to do it. It will be, ooh, I get to do this or I'm going to do this. But as soon as it's like,
that's the sigh. It's
like, I
before you put your shoes on,
do
if you
this
go,
right now.
And especially with people in your life, that's a great indicator.
Big time.
I've been practicing this recently myself. 2024 seemed to be hard. These years keep getting harder.
Hard year.
I had a particularly hard year. Lost my mom at the beginning of the year. My dad's been having health issues. There's been other stuff going on that have been really stressful. And I hit this week, and this is the time of year where people are having like holiday parties and get-togethers and things, and I had 2 invites, one this weekend and one last weekend, where I did not have an excuse to not go, except for the fact I am burnt out.
You've had a lot going on, bud.
And I just went, I just RSVP'd for both. I'm so sorry I can't make it. I love you both. I miss you. I hope to see you in 2025. And that's all. And I just went, perfect. And as soon as I sent those not coming, I went, okay. And you don't have to have an excuse. You don't have to have, sometimes just like, I can't do it. I can't, don't have the capacity to do it.
You don't have to, because, you don't have to have an excuse. And nobody should expect, like, it needs to be a thing where it's like, so why can't you? No, that's not allowed. If somebody can't do it, they can't do it.
I will say this.
Cares?
I will say this for
on to the
people
next
pleasers. Everyone can tell what you're doing, and it's more annoying than you understand.
Yeah.
Like, I think people pleasers are in deep denial about how it actually feels to be on the other side of someone who tells you yes when they don't want to. It's so annoying.
Or then back out of it and go, well, this thing suddenly came up, and then blah, 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 blah. It's so much easier just to be like, sorry, I can't make it. I love you. I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Wish you guys the best. Thank you for the invite. Bye.
There's a cat fight going on.
I was going to say, what's happening? You're looking around your room.
There's a cat fight going on. And that signifies the end of every podcast.
Pretty much. The cats are furious. It's time to go.
Betsy, Marcy, was so lovely to get back together with you.
Michael, thank you so
much. Truly a pleasure.
Much.
Tell everyone everything that you want them to find you on.
Come join us on Bigfoot Collectors Club. We are we've taken sort of a hiatus in November, December. We're doing a lot of Patreon unlocks right now. Betsy, actually, we have a Patreon unlock coming up with you very soon, where we reviewed the movie Bloodbeat, that crazy Christmas ninja horror movie, which is
was it with me and Mono?
No, that was Night of the Demon. That was another one. Oh my God, Night of the Demon was crazy. Bloodbeat was this one that was like, remember there was like, it begins with like a deer hunter like hanging a deer from a tree, and it ends with like ninja fights and women with psychic powers. It's a wild movie. I
might need to watch it.
You might need to. So that episode is going to be actually dropping, I think maybe the week after this episode comes out. So check out that episode. We'll be back. Riley and I will be back with brand new episodes of BCC beginning in January, right after the new year. So follow Bigfoot Collectors Club. I'm at McMills on Instagram. That's all you need to know right now.
Thank you so much for all of your knowledge and research.
Truly,
well, you're welcome. I'm sorry I didn't write any of it down, and then I had to go back and
I think it was great.
Look everyone's everyone's names up.
It was incredible.
Great.
All right.
I learned so much.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for listening to A Funny Feeling.
If you have a paranormal experience that you would like to share, please send us a voice memo, or you can email us just a letter at funnyfeelingpod@gmail.com. I'm Marcy.
I'm Betsy. And don't shit your pants.
That was a HeadGum podcast.